Dear brothers and sisters, as we start the new year, I pray that this year is a better and a brighter year for each and every one of us. We all have gone through a difficult period during the last year. And so as we come to the beginning of this year, it's with anticipation in our beings that we need to start to think about what we can do to make this year a brightened one for us. We have the slogan for this year, Bask in the Inner Sun in 2021. So how do we really put that into practice? When we look at our lives, many of us at this time of the year are looking at what has happened in the last year, and then we start to make resolutions. Many people think about being healthier, many people think about having better relationships, many people think about being monetarily more stable, and start to make goals. But when we start to make goals only for activities of the world outside, then are we really making goals which will truly help us? So as we ponder on the question of what resolutions make sense to make, because when one makes resolutions and is unable to fulfill them, or makes too many resolutions that physically it's not possible to be able to fulfill all of them, then we don't get to our goals. So to keep it simple, when we think about basking in the inner sun, when we think about spiritual light and energy, when we think about nourishment, which will help our soul, then we need to start to think about how do we put that into practice as we live in the world outside. We all live in the physical world. And while we live in the physical world, we all have relationships. And so we also have come here with our past karmas. So ups and downs of life are a part of our existence, and we are going to be going through those states. And so while living in the world, how do we grow spiritually? If we think of 5 words, and if we keep them in front of us and lead our life according to that principle, then we'll find that while living in the world outside, we definitely can take steps towards our true growth, our growth in the spiritual arena, our growth which will help us not only in the spiritual arena, but also in our physical, mental, and emotional arenas. The 5 words to keep in front of us are let go and get God. If we live by the principle of letting go, we would be able to definitely get God. And so the key is to understand how these 5 words impact our thinking, the way we talk, the way we deal with others. We need to understand that to let go of any difficulty that we have, anything that is bothering us, anything that is troubling us, anything that entangles us in the world outside, we need to forgive and to forget. One of the things that bothers many of us is anger. Anger comes in our being when we feel that someone is doing something to us which they should not be doing. They're doing something contrary to what we expect. Things are not happening the way we want, but they're happening in some other manner, and we get angry. We could have anger built into us in thought, in words and in deeds, because we could be angry actually on the spot if something's gone contrary to what we expect. We could be getting angry by words, or later on when we think about it, we could be getting angry in thoughts. And the more we think about the difficult situation, the more angry we get. And so the key to be able to deal with the situation is to forgive and to forget. We should use the strength within ourselves to forgive others for what we think they did wrong to us. And not only should we forgive them, we should also forget the incident. There's an interesting incident out of life of the one who started the nursing career. Her name was Clara Barton. It is said that she was a very loving and a forgiving person. And so one time, an associate of hers came to her and said that, do you remember that many years ago I did this thing which brought a lot of pain to you? And she said, no, I don't remember. And the lady then said, oh, at this time and this time and this happened. And then Clara said very beautifully, she said, oh, I distinctly remember forgetting that. Unless we forget something, we are never going to be able to forgive. Because forgiveness comes to us by forgetting something and realizing, okay, this is from the past. I'm not going to look in the past, I'm going to look into the future. And when we look into the future, there's a bright future in front of each and every one of us. There could be times of difficulties, just like that saying that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. When we look forward, there is light, there is joy, there is peace, there is beauty. So we need to let go of anger. We need to let go of jealousies, because people, get jealous of each other. We think that someone else is getting the better of things without having to work as hard, and so we get jealous of them. We feel we put in more effort than someone else. We don't know why we're not getting promoted, someone else is, and we're jealous of them. And so jealousy also becomes a big part of our life as we grow and as we pass through this physical existence. And so we need to let go of that. So when we let go of our anger, when we let go of our jealousy, what will happen? We get closer and closer to God. How? Because when we are angry and when we are jealous and when we are plotting within ourselves to be vengeful, because we feel someone has done something wrong to us, then a lot of our time is wasted in that arena. And then this turmoil which is building within ourselves, and when there's turmoil which is building within ourselves, then we are not able to be calm and peaceful. And when we are not able to be calm and peaceful, we can't grow spiritually. So the key is to get to a state of calmness. The key is to get to a state when we are peaceful. The key is to get to a state where we are forgetting of what we think happened, which we think was wrong to us, and we forgive the people who we think were the source of that difficulty. And when that happens, then only are we going to let go of things. And so what is very important is that we need to understand that to be able to lead a life in which there would be spiritual growth, we need to get a good handle on jealousy and anger and trying to get revenge on someone, and it'll only happen if we forgive and we forget. As we also look at our lives, we find that people who live in humility and who have gratitude for God are the ones who are successful. God has given us so many gifts. Every day we find gifts in our life. It's the gift of God that we are alive today in this human body. We could be in any other existence. It's a gift of God that we are living with families. It's a gift of God that our life is going on. And instead of being grateful to God, we many times start to think that what we have is because of our own efforts. It's our ego that builds up. And when our ego builds up, then we start to think of ourselves as being better than everyone else. And when we start to think of ourselves as being better than everyone else, then we find that more and more difficulties start to come in our life because we look down on others, and in the process we create more distances between us and others. And as we find ourselves getting far away, we're also getting further away from God. There's this saying in the East which says that wherever there's God, there's no question of ego. And wherever there is ego, there is no question of God being there. And so we need to get a better handle on our ego. So we need to let our ego go. We need to lead a life of humility. We need to be in a state where we experience ourselves as everyone else, a state in which we are able to live in harmony with everyone else. And that is going to bring us closer and closer to God. We need to understand that each and every one of us is coming from the same source, irrespective of our outer signs being different, irrespective of us being of a certain faith, irrespective of us being of a certain culture, irrespective of us being one who speaks a different language. We all are children of God. And we all are one and the same. Some of us might feel we are much more educated than others, some might feel we are more affluent than others, but we should realize that in the family of God, we're all one and the same. And as we try to put that into practice, then only are we going to be coming closer and closer to God. So we need to let go of our ego so that we can get God. We can be with God, we can experience God. And it's only when we get to that state that we are connected with God who is permeating each and every pore of our being. We need to be in that state in which we think of ourselves as being in harmony with everyone else. Then only are we going to be in harmony with the divine. God the Creator resides within each and every one of us. So as we invert, as we go within, the connection with the divine light and the divine sound of God is what makes us realize that the same light and sound of God is in others too, and then puts us in a state where we feel to be in harmony with everyone else. And that's the state that we need to be in. Also, life gives us many chances of helping others. Selfless service is another aspect which makes life livable in the manner that it should be lived. Whatever we've done last year, let's just double our efforts this year. People need help. Someone might need help in the physical arena. They might need some physical help. They might be physically sick. They need some help in that arena. Some others might need help in the financial arena because finances might not be good for them. There might be others who maybe need some emotional help because they're going through a problem. They want a shoulder on which they can rest their heads and get some help. Someone might need intellectual help, because maybe their intellect is not as strong, and so they need help in being able to understand things. So there are opportunities for us to help everyone else. But when we look at our lives, we find we have many opportunities to help, but how many of those do we put into practice? How much time are we wasting on activities which don't help us any? Let's say watching TV and being involved in activities which are not really helping us get closer to God. So we need to get away from those activities so that we put time into helping someone else. The saints and mystics have said that when we help someone, the rewards are as great as meditation. So an hour of selfless service gives us the same returns as an hour of sitting in meditation. So selfless service and being that state is very important. So when we let go of those activities which are not bringing us closer to God, in which we are wasting our time, then we will be able to get God, we will get closer and closer to God. And so the key is to be able to let go of all that is keeping us away from God. Another area which we need to think about is having the experience of being with God. And that experience comes through meditation. As we meditate, and meditation is a process by which we take our attention from the world outside and focus it within ourselves. So as we meditate, then we are uplifted from the physical to the divine. We connect with the divine power of light and sound of God, which is within ourselves. And as we connect with the divine power, then the closeness of God is experienced by us. So we need to meditate regularly. Meditation needs to be put into our day-to-day program. Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj would always say, God first and everything else next. And to get to God, we need to meditate. And so meditation first and everything else next. This is why from the old times, people would meditate early in the morning, between 3 and 6 a.m. That's the first thing they would do, so that the most important job of the day was done. And so we need to be regular in our meditative practices, because as we look at our lives, we find that even though we think we are going to meditate, we think, oh, this thing is more important, that thing is more important, that thing is more important, and all those things are of the world. So we need to let go of those activities, because none of them is getting us closer to our goal. Our goal is to be one with God. Our goal is to be connected with God. Our goal is to experience God. And so anything that keeps us away from that is what we need to let go. And when we let go of that, then we will get God. And so the key is to be regular in our meditation and make sure that we are able to put into practice that what will take us to our goals. To meditate, we need to focus our attention within ourselves. We need a quiet place to sit in. We need to be able to still our mind. We need to be able to have all our focus right in the spiritual arena. When we do it regularly, we'll definitely get to our goals. Many times in life, we find that as we even sit to meditate, we close our eyes, we are bombarded by thoughts. Thoughts about whatever's happening through the day, whatever happened the day before, what's going to happen tomorrow. Because what is happening within us is that we are full of all the activities of the world outside. And those are dragging us in one direction or another. So we need to think about what is it that we need to fill ourselves with. We need to fill ourselves with love. the love of God. Because when we fill ourselves with the love of God, then love of all human beings and all animals and birds and fish will automatically come into our life. And anything that keeps us away from love, anything that drags us in a direction where instead of being able to be loving and caring, that we're only living for ourselves, that we need to let go. If we are living just to get gains for ourselves in the physical world, that's not the kind of life which will lead us to our goals. We need to realize that God has given us this opportunity to come into this world. God has given us this opportunity to be loving and caring. God has given us this opportunity to be in harmony with everyone else. And that will happen when we fill our heart with love of God. That love of God is experienced when we rise above physical body consciousness. And as we get a glimpse of God within ourselves, then we realize that God is also in everyone else. And that experience then will make us get to a state where everything which is not loving within ourselves, we will let go. And as we let go of that, then the closeness of God will happen. And so, as we try to put into practice, bask in the inner sun in 2021, let us think about these 5 words. Let go and get God. Let go of everything that keeps us away from God, whether it be anger, whether it be jealousy, whether it be our ego, whether it be, time which is wasted in other activities, whether it be activities which are not making us loving and caring, anything that keeps us away from helping others. So let go of all of that. It's when we let go of all of that, then we will be getting God. God is easily available. God is within each and every one of us. God is not far away from us. It's we whose attention is in other activities. And so as the new year starts, let's remember these 5 words. Let go and get God. And as we do that, we'll find that we will be getting closer and closer to our goals. That the presence of God would be experienced by us. That God would not be far away from us, that we know that God is with us. So as we start the new year, let us start it by experiencing God within, by letting go of all other activities on the world outside, making sure that we are regular in our meditative practices, and the joys of being with God will unfold to each and every one of us. So let us meditate for a few minutes. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Please close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight. Focus 8 or 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who are initiating the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that we feel comfortable with. The repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light in His effulgence. So we'll be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting you out of this meditative state, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave off.